8 surprising ways where full-time travel could work for you and your family. I don't know that full-time travel is right for absolutely everyone, but for us, it really works well. And I just want to have more conversations about full-time travel, what's it really like? Because a year ago, I really had a lot of questions, and it was just me jumping out, me and my husband having a lot of conversations. I think we can do this better. We were doing the 9 to 5 thing, and we thought, well, we're currently using some of our savings just to survive in the US. We're working full time. Actually, we were working full time until I wasn't, and then I started homeschooling the kids a couple years before we left. But we're draining our savings. We're trying to cut costs. We're trying to say more like, can I do this a little bit better? And so in this video, I'm going to try and break down some ways where it could be a really good fit for you and your family. You could have a better lifestyle if you are to move outside of the US. And really, you have to kind of go out into the unknown before you are gonna know for sure. But I know for me, before we left, we had a lot of conversations. We watched a lot of YouTube videos about whether it was right for us. And so I wanna kind of break down 8 different ways where it could work out better for you. And I guess you can say we just started sort of dreaming, letting our mind sort of go in other ways where it had never gone before. I had started just dreaming about, if I had to do my life over, because I kind of did have to start over after major health crashes in my own life. And I had to quit real estate because I used to be a real estate agent, and I was just doing that full time. And my health, decided it didn't want to do that anymore. And so I just wanted to, rethink this, like, how can we do this better? And I would ask my husband, I would say, what would you do if you could do anything? If money was not an issue, how would you live your life? What would you do? And every time his answer was that he wanted to travel. And so I was like, well, how can we make that work? And he started looking into, how can you do it cost effectively? And I was letting go of my old life completely and entirely, that I was like, well, I found a lot of peace in meditation and prayer and all of that. And so I was on my own journey. And so we kind of both travel for different reasons. But in this video, I want to talk about how we sort of escaped the 9 to 5 life, where it was just like, that wasn't really working for us. Even though we've always been doing it, doesn't mean we have to continue doing it. And I think you get to a certain age where you're just like, is this my end game? Is this really what we're doing for the rest of our life? And am I finding joy in this? Am I finding peace in this type of lifestyle? So how can I change my lifestyle? And I want to talk about that. I've got my notes here. We did actually have to do a lot of dreaming, a lot of walks, and that's kind of how we ended up traveling full time, is that we sort of put this, sort of orchestrated this plan over 1 to 2 years. And now we've been doing it for a year. So I'm here to tell you how it ended up turning out. So the categories are, can their school be better? Can our environment be better? Can my health be better? Can a remote work, can that be better than always being tied to a certain location and not being able to go, on vacations or whatever, just having these small little windows? Like, what if we weaved travel into our everyday life? And that's basically what we set off to do. And so I want to start off with environment. When we were in San Antonio, we did have 4 seasons, which was really nice. I love the fall season. It's my favorite season. But, in the winters, it's extremely cold. And in the summers, it's extremely hot. It's over 100 degrees. I know nobody else uses the Fahrenheit system over here, as what I'm noticing is as soon as you go out of everybody uses Celsius, as soon as you go out of the US. But over 100 degrees. And in the summers, we always tried to stay inside. And in the winters, we're always trying to stay inside. And so then the spring and the fall always seem too short. When you go out to other countries, now, when we were in Vietnam, it was extra, extra hot. But I thought, can we live a more outside lifestyle? Our outdoor lifestyle, can we go to the beach more? It's free to go to the beach. Can we do that more? Like, what if we lived near the beach? Then we could just kind of go often. And yes, there are beaches in the US, but not at this low a cost of living. And I'll get to cost of living here in a second. But changing up the environment, becoming more adaptable, can can we have a more outdoor lifestyle? So I wanted to know if we lived in a condo by the beach at a lower cost of living than what we were paying in San Antonio to live in a not so great place. Can we do that better? And we have been able to do that. I wanted to sort of foster this appreciation for nature and being in nature. We would just never really go. When we started homeschooling, we did it more because I wanted to get the kids out. I would take them to parks and stuff like that. But I wanted to have a more outdoor lifestyle because it is better for your health and wellness. It's better, and we would live in the city, so you're even less in nature or on the beach or in the woods or on hiking, things like that. And so over the last year, we have been able to do that. Maintaining a home. I got to where, with 4 boys, I got to where the maintaining a home was too much. It was too overwhelming. Everything became too overwhelming, especially when you're trying to solve your health issues, especially when you're just trying to keep the household together, when you're homeschooling, deferred maintenance on your home, and always trying to keep the house clean and always trying to keep up with your belongings. It's a lot easier to maintain a home as we're moving because we move about once every month, once every 2 months. And the longer you travel, the longer you end up sort of doing longer stays. Sort of just notice within the community. At first, you're like kind of really ready to get it out of your system. And then as you go, you're like, well, let's stay for a while. Let's kind of get more. And I've just noticed that with other world schoolers as well. But maintaining a house, it doesn't take us long to pack up and move. Maybe it takes us a day to go ahead and clean up the house and pack up all of our bags. We start a couple days early, but the house never gets like so bad. And then you kind of leave things behind. Like we've had people give us beanbag chairs. We've had things where we bought for just when we're in Vietnam or just in the Philippines. And then we've like left it behind because every time we get on a plane, we have to sort of fit everything back into our carry-on suitcase and our backpack. So just being able to maintain the home, I don't have to spend a lot of time doing that, and I don't have to worry about decorating a house or anything like that. And so I like that. Okay, so family time. One of the reasons a lot of people want to travel full time is because they want to have more family time. They want to see their kids more. They want to have these experiences. And when you're traveling, you do have a lot of family time, sometimes too much. But you're always doing things together, you're traveling together, you're finding things together. We have a lot more family dinners because we eat out a lot more. So we'll go somewhere and eat out usually once a day. You just have more of those organic moments where you're coaching your kids and you're teaching them about values and character and integrity. You just have so many more opportunities to do that when you're traveling full time. And so that's one of the things we thought, well, if we travel full time as a family, it seems like we'd be more like a team. And we are, and we've become very, very close together as a family. Okay, so we also wanted to start businesses, just whatever that may be. We wanted to have our own thing. We didn't want to work for someone else because as soon as you work for someone else, you have to stay in a certain location, you have to work certain hours. You still do have to work, and it still is hard work. But we thought if we could just be location independent, we could live in places that are less expensive. We don't have to make as much money as we would in the US. What's really good and what really works is when people make US money but spend it in other foreign countries that don't cost as much, where your money is stretched. And so that's kind of what. But I would say it is very difficult to build a business and travel and homeschool your kids full time. But long term, I feel like it's a longer play because if you own your own business, you can kind of take it. You're not dependent upon whether you're going to get let go of that job. Your income is not capped. I'm an entrepreneur at heart, so I always want to own my own business or do my own thing. And because I like autonomy. I like to be completely autonomous. I feel like I can do things more efficiently than if I was working for someone else. But starting a business back in the US is not an option because you have to maintain the income that you're doing. It's People can do it depending on how demanding their current job is, but we were kind of maxed out with the 4 kids, and my husband's job was really demanding, so there wasn't a lot of time to like build this other like side hustle to then like make a lot of money and then be able to travel. So we took our savings and we decided to live off of that until we got this. We worked full time while we're traveling to build up income. Now, I cannot say that it has been easy, because it has not been. It's better if you have something going already. I will say that. But just when you have a vision and when you have goals, if you can just stick to that, no matter how long it takes, that's kind of what we decided. And everything else had kind of worked it out. We had put our house on Airbnb. I was managing it. Then we passed it on to someone else, things like that. So the next logical step for us was to buy those tickets to Bangkok and to start a year of world schooling. So that's what we decided to do. But yes, starting a business, we tried to do it before we left while we're working and homeschooling, and it just was a little bit difficult. But at a lower cost of living, you can kind of try to start that business and do it for longer. So that way we just had more time if we went somewhere else at a lower cost of living. The next thing is, as I'm letting go of my old life and on this health journey and finding peace and tranquility, I just naturally started letting go of not only ideas that I had in my mind of what my life was going to end up looking like, but I also started letting go of physical possessions. I became less attached to things, less attached to our house that was like my house that I was very happy to have and grateful for. And I feel like I put my blood, sweat, and tears into that house, but I was willing to let it go. I was willing to let go of items. I was willing to just live very minimally. And the advantage to doing that is that then you find contentment in things that actually find you joy. You're very intentional about your life. And when you become very intentional about the things you bring into your life and the things you're going to carry, then you can have more time and more space for things that do actually bring you a lot of joy, fulfillment, things like that. And I believe that less is more. And in such an information age and in such an age of this life is just, we know too much. We have too much knowledge. There's too many things filling up our brain. Anything that you can minimize or let go of, I feel like is a really good thing. I found that my things became more of a heavy burden, and I was ready to just let go and just I wanted to be as free as possible and as autonomous as possible and to do my own thing as much as possible. And when you have 4 kids, you don't get to always do what you want to do all the time, because you've got to take care of your kids, you've got to feed them, you've got to entertain them, you've got to homeschool them. With that being said, the more you can let go of, I feel like as you get older, you become more and more efficient, but you also have more and more responsibilities, whether you put that on yourself or not. So at some point in your life, you decide this is too much. I'm going to stop saying yes to go, and the things that I do want to say yes to, maybe they can wait. Maybe this is not the time for those types of things. So it's a more minimal lifestyle. All right, next up is cost of living. I think a lot of people in America would be surprised the cost of living that we are able to live over here. Now, the thing that is not cost effective are the plane tickets to get all the way halfway around the world. And we are literally on the opposite side of where America is, because we're in Southeast Asia right now. But everything else financially makes sense. The way I made the plane tickets work financially was that I knew we would need to spend at least a year over here. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense financially to just hop over here, blow through $4,000, and then go back. It only makes sense if you divide it over 12 months as sort of travel expenses. And I knew that our accommodations we try to keep it under $1,000, but in reality, it ended up being around $1,200 to $1,400 a month to stay in an Airbnb. So when you tack that on, let's say $1,400 plus $500. It's $500 to $700. We're staying for 15 months without going back to Texas, so it's $500. Our Airbnb on the high side is $1,400. That's $1,900 a month for accommodations and a place to live. We can eat out for the same amount that it costs for groceries. So the cost of living ends up being a lot less, and your quality of life is higher. So if you are able to maintain that with the current income that you have. Now, if you have zero income, it gets a little bit stressful because you're just using your savings. But if you can make maybe half of what you're making in the US, then you could live very comfortably, and even better over in places like Southeast Asia. You can also live in places like Mexico. That was one of the other places, but we really wanted to go for it. We can always go to Mexico if we want to, but the cost of living is so much less, and we eat out once a day, we eat in once a day. And so that's always fun, and that's sort of our entertainment as well. A lot of what we do is totally free, like going to the beaches, the malls. The kids love getting to see new fun places and eating out. That's mainly what we do. And then we can do on certain excursions. But if you think about it, when you're in your hometown, I'm from San Antonio, so I don't always go to SeaWorld all the time. I don't always go to Fiesta, Texas all of the time, or downtown for a concert. We're getting to do a lot more, just living over on this side of the world than we would. We're taking more opportunities, partly because it's usually super cheap. We can go on a boat ride, or we can go on, down the river, and it's like $5 a person or $10 a person, which is so much less than it is in the US. So anyways, cost of living, I'll have to do a whole video on cost of living, but that is just the overview. So higher quality of life at less cost. Now, you're probably still working full-time unless you're able to retire, which I find that most people that are world schooling and have kids, they're not retired. They're on a budget, they're working part-time, full-time. I don't find that a lot of people have both parents working full-time, because you also have to manage the travel and the full-time job and the homeschooling. So usually one person, kind of works some, but they're homeschooling the kids, and they are looking into, you always have to figure out where you're going to live next. So that is my sort of general overview on cost of living, and I can do more breakdowns on that if you want. Let me know in the comments, and I'll go over that. And it looks like my kids are here to play. This is like the 9th floor. We're on the 43rd floor, and this is like a play area for all of the kids. And so the twins come down here and play. It's like a whole soccer field and badminton, and Jackson is not here to play, but he is bringing the twins down here. Hey guys, say hi. Then some badminton rackets. Badminton is really big in Southeast Asia. You wouldn't think. I remember playing this as a kid, but then I haven't in the last 30 years. So the last thing I want to talk about is homeschooling. Oh, I have 2 more. So I need to talk about health and wellness and schooling. So let's talk about schooling. A lot of people ask me, how are you able to school your kids? How are you able to do that? And I need to do a whole video on this. I really, truly do. But basically, I felt like they're homeschooling, the things that we did for homeschool, everything that they are doing is computer-based, which I don't love. Some people travel with books, so their kids can travel with books. We do everything online. We do 20 minutes on every subject, but they are just getting to see the world, and this is going to change the trajectory of their life. And it's really mind-blowing to think about our kids and how this is going to shape their life, and we wanted to show this to them. And our kids are at this certain ages where we feel like it's a good idea to do, and if we don't do it now, when are they going to have we didn't see in the foreseeable future or near future that they would ever be able to travel. And so we love this for them. They get to see different countries and open their mind and, get out of San Antonio, Texas. Most of the time, they weren't out of San Antonio, Texas. We stayed, maybe we'd go see our grandparents every now and then, or for holidays. Other than that, we didn't leave Texas for sure. And so homeschooling allows them to see other cities and other cultures just by observing. We don't even have to really try that much. Travel, how do you get on a plane? They've been on several plane rides, and I'm just so thankful for that. And I think it's such a great education for them. Is it hard to homeschool in general? Yes. Is it hard to homeschool world school travel? For me, it is. Some people are more natural at it. For me, it is difficult, but I remember how difficult it was before we left. When you're a homeschool mom and you're trying to do what's best for your kids, you're always going to second guess yourself or hope that they don't miss out on something because of you. I felt good about world schooling because I knew that they would get experience. Like if I had a shortcoming in one area, at least I took them traveling around the world. And so I really loved that their schooling would be enhanced by doing this. Every country we go to, there's a different currency. And so they're learning about conversions and currency and travel and plane tickets and train rides and grab taxis. And they help me every time we're getting a grab taxi and how that works. And when I say grab taxis, I mean like Uber. It's very cheap over here. And so we just do Ubers everywhere and we don't have a car. But I feel like it's such a great education for them, and it's something they'll remember forever. We've made so many family memories, educational memories, some more educational than others. We've been able to talk with them through all of this as they're going. They've been able to ask us questions. We're always right there for them. So I think this is excellent for their schooling. And all world schooling is, well, I'll have to do another video on that. Let me know in the comments if you want me to do a video on that. Okay. And then the last one is health and wellness. And I am such a big advocate for health and wellness because as you get older, you kind of have to pay attention to it more. But also when I was going through my huge couple years of just having health crashes, I had to really study health and wellness, and I'm actually really interested in it. But it does help to get fresh air and movement and sunshine. And as you get older, you kind of have to do those a little bit more. And I want to teach my kids that. And I really felt like there would be more organic foods over here. And there are, like when you go out to eat, the out to eat food is healthier. Now they also have a lot of fried foods. I thought that fried foods I thought that was like a South US type food, like in the South, like everybody fries food. No, they fry chicken over here like crazy. So we try and they have McDonald's over here, and they have, all of the things that are not healthy for you, but they also have, like, you can go to the mall and get healthy dishes. And so I felt like eating wise, movement wise, our lifestyle would be healthier and also have more opportunities to be present. So whenever you are experiencing something new for the first time, if you live your life on autopilot all of the time, you aren't as present. Your mind can be a little bit absent, and you don't live as intentionally as you could if you're having new experiences. And that's what I love about new experiences, is that I remember them so much more vividly when I have new experiences and when I experience new things, and then when there's adventure and things like that. And when I say adventure, I don't mean anything super crazy. But when you are experiencing a new country or a new culture for the first time, you are naturally more present and aware in your own life. And so I really wanted to experience that, and I didn't care where we went. Jeremy always picks where we go. And I just want to be present. I want to have experiences. I want to experience those things with my own kids. And we've been able to do that. I didn't go over a lot of pros and cons in this video, and I will do a pros and cons video. But I really feel like I didn't want to do the groundhog thing every day, where you go to work, you're totally exhausted after work, you don't have time for your kids, your kids are totally exhausted, and then you go to bed and you do it all over again. And so just living with more intentionality, living outside of the box, maybe not living like everybody else does, maybe trying to do things just a little bit better. I wanted to know if I could do that. And in a lot of ways, all of these things are true. I do want to do a cons video of sort of the downsides that can happen when you are world schooling, because it's not all sunshine and rainbows. But do I regret this? No. Did I go into this knowing that I would never regret this? Yes. And so to me and my husband, that meant it was a no-brainer, that we would just take a year and do this, maybe longer, maybe indefinitely. That's what sealed the deal for us. We were like, we'll figure it out. And we know that we will not regret it. And I love looking back through my camera roll and seeing all of the experiences that we've had. It's been really special to see. And now that we've been traveling a year, I can look back at the old videos that I did a year ago when we first started. I'm seeing those videos pop up. And so that to me is so special, because I'm like, wow, we've been doing this for a full year. And I can't say that I have it all figured out, but I can say that we have had some phenomenal experiences that we never would have experienced if we had just been doing the same thing that we'd always been doing. So I knew that we would have no regrets taking a year off and traveling full-time as a family. I hope that helps you to sort of outline, these are some of the things that we started with, thinking, I think we can do this better. And now that we've been doing it a year, all of those things are true. On my next video or on a subsequent video, be sure and follow me, because I want to talk about some of the things that have come up that I'm realizing about full-time travel that I didn't know when I first started. Thank you guys for watching all the way to the end. If you watch the end, you get a gold star. Let me know in the comments. And I just want to have more conversations about full-time travel and just kind of why we did it, what's working, what's not working, and sort of just having an ongoing conversations. If you guys have any questions in the comments, let me know. And I have so many video ideas on this that I'm not doing any videos. So I want to start getting more videos out. And so this is me not overthinking the process, right? Because I'm like in a gym basically. So I hope that helps you if you're thinking about full-time travel, or if you're curious, or if you just wanted to know why we did this. That is the reason, and hopefully I'll catch you soon on my next video. I have a workshop that I'm doing for full-time families who are interested in deciding whether full-time travel is right for you. If you want to check that out, there's a link. It may be a live course, it may be an evergreen course by the time you watch this. Right now I'm doing live sessions on Zoom Thursday night at 8 p.m. in the US Central Time. So I hope that you can join me there. Also, if you want the copy for this video, if you want to read over it, let me know and I can shoot you the link over for that.